Okay, guys, we're back. Welcome to episode, what? I think episode 6. I have to go get my nails done in an hour, so I have an hour to film. Tomorrow, I have a movie premiere to go to, and my nails are looking crazy. The thing about movie premieres, like, some movie premieres are so casual, and then some movie premieres are like the Met Gala. Like, some people are dressed up, like, styled by like stylists, and they look gorgeous, and like literally it's like you're starstruck looking at them. I don't even know who some of these people are, but I'm like, god damn. And then sometimes it's like people in jeans and a shirt, and I'm there decked out. So each time the first time I went to a movie premiere, I decked out. Everyone was casual. Second time I was like, you know what, let me go a little cash. Everyone's decked out. So I keep trying to meet in the middle, but then I always feel I'm either underdressed or overdressed. So it's the Hard Eyes movie premiere. I'm so excited to see it. I'm not a big fan of scary movies, and it is indeed a scary movie, but it's a Valentine's scary movie. So I love Valentine's Day. I don't know why. I just love the vibes of Valentine's Day. I feel like it's a girls' holiday. Like, it's not even for couples. I feel like it's for the girls. Every time I film, my dad walks past my room 3,000 times. Like, he wants to be in this video so bad, man. Honestly, Olipop needs to sponsor me at this point. A lot of people want me to talk about friendships and breaking up with your friends. I don't think that's my area of expertise, honestly. I think I'm still learning there, so I don't really have much advice to give on that, honestly. I mean, I have, like, older sister type of advice, like something that I would tell, like, my little sister. But as for, like, adult friendships, like, I feel like I have high school friendships I have down pat, because I've been there, done that. But adult friendships is like a new area. So I'm still navigating that. I'm blessed to have incredible friends. I love my friends to death. Let me give you a little background, actually. I always thought that this is how everyone grew up, okay? In my town, I have a very tiny town. I didn't know it was tiny until I was older, but it's a very tiny town. I think it's like less than a mile, or like just 1 mile long. Like, I know the name of every single person in my grade. Like, to this day. I will, if I see their face, like, I know who they are. It's very easy in my town to know basically everyone. Like, I know everyone in every other grade too. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 people that I don't know in the other grades, but in my grade I know every single person. So in my town, I feel like it's the societal structure is in each grade there is a girl group and a boy group. In my grade we have the girls and then we have the boys, and like to this day that's my friend group. The group of boys is like 8 people, and then the group of girls is like 5 people. So whenever we go out, sorry, like my dad just coughed in the background. I have to work on that trigger. When people cough, I want to die. Yesterday, me and my little sister went to a college class, because I'm in college, and this girl was clearing her throat. I shit you not, like every 2 seconds. I want to say 30 seconds, but it was more often than 30 seconds. And it was like this. This is how I clear my throat. That's it. Like, who does that? Anyway, so yeah, we have the girlfriends, and obviously your girlfriends are always much stronger than your guy friends, but then there would be like 1 or 2 boys that you're like really close with, like that's like your BFF. Oh, my dad keeps coughing. Then, if he coughs one more time, I'm gonna fucking die. So, like, obviously in high school, I feel like who's not insecure in high school, right? But then again, I'm sure there's some people that have, like, a good upbringing, and they're probably not as insecure as I was in high school. But I was so insecure in high school. You're figuring out yourself, you're navigating your sexuality, you're just very insecure. You're not secure yet, and I feel like that's normal. And so with that comes obviously other insecure people around you who are going through the same stuff, and you're being a bad friend. You have bad friends around you. My older sister, like I said, she was homeschooled a lot, and she didn't go to school much, and she struggled with anxiety, so she didn't have many friends. And so she would always compare herself to me. Everyone kind of felt bad for her. Nobody looked at it. Like, nobody thought about how I was feeling being the one that was being compared to, or being the one that everybody thought was like, oh, she's fine, like she has friends, she's fine. So my sister would always be like, well, Sam has friends, so she doesn't know what it's like to get bullied and she doesn't know what it's like to have people talk about her. And I'm like, what? And I tell her to this day, I'm like I'm so sorry that you had bad experiences in school and that people were mean. Like, she would sometimes hear people laughing at her or like talking about her or saying something under their breath. Like, I'm so sorry you went through that, but like, don't assume that I didn't go through anything, because people in high school can be very mean. I mean, I think everyone is. I think everyone is learning. People are finding out the importance of being a good person. Like, they don't know it yet. I know I didn't. They're young, they're dumb, they're growing, and they say stupid things, and they hurt people, especially high school boys. A lot of people assume that girls are always like the most drama and they're the meanest. No, high school boys are ruthless. Like, they're terrible. And then my parents would always feel bad for her, and in order to make her feel better, they would like shit on me. That's why I think I'm also triggered by when I get the sense that somebody is comparing themselves to me, or when somebody feels inferior to me because of that experience that I had growing up. I get really offended when somebody compares themselves to me and doesn't see me as their equal. Like, it's almost like my heart breaks. Like, I feel like that friendship, that relationship, like, it's over. And to them, it's crazy. It's crazy because to them, they probably don't even view it as them doing anything to me, like doing anything bad to me. But to me, it's like, that's the worst thing you could do to me. Like, subconsciously, I'm just so hurt by that, because I remember when hearing my sister say this all the time growing up. It was always to put me down. It was always to try to get my parents to go on her side, try to get something out of it from my parents, and take something away from me. Well, Sammy doesn't need that because Sammy has friends. Well, Sammy's pretty, so she doesn't need that. Well, Sammy's skinny, so she doesn't need that. Well, Sammy's smart, so she doesn't need that. And I remember just being really hurt by it, because my sisters especially, like, I want my sisters to love themselves and to feel good about themselves and for people to treat them kindly. Like, that's all I would ever want. And so to have my sister, like, I don't know, I never compared myself to my sisters. That was just my experience growing up. I know it's a common thing to compare yourself to your siblings, but I never did that. And I don't know how to explain it. Like, I really get so hurt when somebody compares themselves to me, because I feel like it comes from hatred. Like, I feel like I'm being hated by a person that I love and that I wouldn't do that to. Like, I want to be seen as an equal. I don't know. It's so hard to explain. Like, this is something that I still have to like work through my thoughts on.
Guys, I'm editing right now, and I just want to add in that me and my sister have solved this already. Like, we've worked through this, and I am so close to my sister now. Back then, we weren't that close because we had our parents, like, I think it's called, like, when parents do alliances. So, like, I was allied with my mom and she was allied with my dad, and so it pits the siblings against each other. And so now that we're in therapy, like, we learned about that, and like, we know it wasn't either of our faults, and it was like more of our parents' responsibility. So yeah, so we're good now. We're like this now.
I don't know. I feel like my parents were also oblivious to how, like, I guess they thought, like, if you had friends in high school, then you have no problems, which is totally untrue. I think, well, for my friend group in particular, obviously, our friend group was way bigger back in, like, middle school, and it got smaller, it got smaller, it got smaller. We're all young girls navigating adolescence, and so when we were in high school, yeah, we were probably shitty to each other. Like, I know I definitely wasn't the best friend. I know they definitely made mistakes. As you continue growing, like, there's some friends that just, like, doesn't grow at the same rate as you, so they kind of leave. And then as you continue growing, I feel like you kind of grow as a friend group. You're going together just as you would with, like, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a significant other. As you grow and you start to love yourself, your friends will be doing the same thing. They'll be growing and loving themselves as well. The one quality you need to find in a person to be a good friend is that they love themselves. That's it. And there's a difference. I think I touched on this before. There's a difference between, like, outside insecurities. Everybody has outside insecurity. If you feel like your nose is too big, if you feel like your lips are too thin, if you want a bigger butt, if you want to be skinnier, like, these are all, like, superficial insecurities. But what's the most important is the deep rooted, like, self-worth. And if somebody's lacking that, I think it's impossible for them to be a good friend, because they will project their insecurities on you no matter what. They'll just project that negative energy on everything, on every situation, on every person. When you love yourself, you don't want anybody else to not love themselves. When you love yourself, you want to have fun, you want to experience things, you're very positive. You just love your friends, you love your life, you love your family members, you love the people around you, the people that you choose to have in your life. You're confident in that decision to have them in your life, and so you look at these relationships as something that you have to maintain, as something that you have to nurture. Like, friendships are something that you maintain and you nurture. You're there for them when they need you, and they're there for you when you need them, and they're there to have fun with you and to cry with you, like all these things. And it's like, when you love yourself, like, you want to be the best person, the best version of yourself in every aspect of life. You want to be the best friend to your friends. You want to be the best sister to your sisters. You want to be the best significant other to your significant other. So that's why I think it's very important to just make sure that you don't have people in your life that are like deeply, deeply insecure to the point where they project that onto you. Because being around somebody who hates themselves, it's so draining. You'll be able to recognize when somebody's saying something to put you down. Like, when somebody's saying something to put you down so that they can bring themselves up. Because that's what insecure people do. That's what people that don't have a strong sense of self, that don't have a strong self-esteem, they put people down to bring themselves up. I mean, I think that's a well-known common thing. But yeah, it's unfortunate because those people really probably do love you. They really probably do want you as a friend or as a significant other, but they're so insecure that they're just not able to give you that love. Like, they just need to keep putting other people down because they can't see anybody else love themselves if they don't love themselves. And so it's unfortunate, because I'm sure they would be a good friend, they would be a good significant other if they just love themselves. I'm definitely at the point in my life where there was a while where I felt bad for these people, but at the end of the day, it's like, damn, like, but you're so mean. A mean person doesn't deserve good friends. So people just have to be so self-aware and so mindful of the way they treat others, so mindful. And obviously, we're all human, so even if you do love yourself and you are growing, you may slip up and say something that just wasn't kind. You know what I mean? Like, that it just wasn't kind. Like, what was the motive behind what you just said? Like, sometimes you may make mistakes. Always catch yourself and just be so mindful of how you treat others and how you're going to make others feel with what you say. Just make sure your intentions are always good. Always check in with your intentions. My belief is that I think it's better to be alone. I think it's better to be alone and to have very few friends than to have fake friends. And by fake friends, I mean insecure friends, friends that put you down, friends that don't want to see the best for you. See, this is something I'm learning now, which is why I say that I really can't give much advice, because I feel like I'm not good at this yet. I just saw a TikTok that said, when the manipulative man meets the girl that can't be manipulated. And I was like, oh my god, that's so true. But I am starting to realize, so that's how I used to always think. Because I went to therapy, because I was just aware of these things. I know when somebody's saying something to put me down. I know when somebody's jealous. I know when somebody's insecure. I can pick up on these things very fast. I know when they're saying something because they're being manipulative. I know when they're trying to gaslight me. Like, I know all these things. And so I always thought, like, I'm not internalizing anything that these people say. I'll be like, okay, I'm not internalizing this. They're insecure. They're saying this to bring me down. It's not true. It's just their own fear that they have that they're projecting onto me. And so I would do this with people. And I always thought that because I was aware of it, because I was acknowledging the exact behavior that they were doing, and I was so knowledgeable on the topic, I always thought that I was clear. Like, okay, I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting my mental health. I'm at peace. This isn't doing any damage to me. I'm protecting myself. What is it called? Compartmentalizing? I'm compartmentalizing. I don't know what it's called. Okay, anyways, I'm doing that. I'm putting everything into a box. I'm classifying each thing, and then I'm moving it aside. So now I'm learning in therapy, even though I was doing the right thing, which is, one, acknowledging this person doesn't even mean what they're saying. They don't even believe what they're saying. They're just trying to make you feel bad because they feel bad. That's step number one. Like, that's good that I did that. But my therapist told me is that I do step number one. I don't do step number two. And step number two would be the action, to do something about it. Have a conversation about this. Say, I don't want you treating me like this anymore. And if the behavior doesn't change, you leave. You leave that friendship. You leave that relationship. You leave that whatever. I always thought that I was safe and I was in the clear once I acknowledge somebody's behavior. And so now I'm learning that just because you acknowledge it, it doesn't mean that these words or these behaviors and these actions don't damage you. I'm finding out that they do damage you, that you are being damaged by being around this energy, by being around insecure people that say mean things to you. Like, you are being damaged. It is hurting you. And I didn't know that. I had no idea. So I was like, what the hell? It's subconscious. It's subconsciously affecting you, and that's something that you're later on gonna have to heal from. Knowing what I know now, I would say to you that I think it's better to have less friends, to be single, than to be around people who are insecure and who project those insecurities onto you. Because even if you're aware that they are insecure and that they are only saying these things to bring you down, it still damages you. The damage is still being done to you, whether you're conscious of it or not. And so that's something I learned recently. I really thought I was in the clear. I was able to put up with stuff. I was able to point everything out, and I caught everything. But I didn't know about the subconscious. And you know what? That reminds me. I feel like, I don't know where I learned it. It was like a class or something, or maybe it was a video I saw online or something. But I remember seeing something about a plant, or like a celery. Was it plant or celery? I have no idea. They did an experiment with like plants, I think. With one plant, they would say nice things to the plant every day, like, you're so beautiful, you're so kind, you're growing, you're so strong, like all good affirmations. And to the other plant, they would say all insults and all bad things, negativity, like, you're so ugly, you're never gonna grow, you're weak, like all these bad things. The outcome of this experiment was that the one that was getting the positive affirmations every day grew, and then the one that was getting the negative insults died. I'm pretty sure. I hope I'm quoting like a real experiment, because I swear I remember learning about this. And so think about that. If this is a real experiment, then that's mind-blowing. I hope I didn't just make that up. I swear I saw something like this. But if that's true, then if the words of a human being can do that to a plant, can you imagine what that's doing to our brain? That makes me sick, man. It's not good to be around negative energy, and even like negative people. I always see TikToks about negative people. Yeah, negative people are so annoying. They're so annoying. It doesn't even mean that they're insecure. I think they're just like very pessimistic and very negative. They're not easygoing. They're not go with the flow. Let me give you a little background. When I was in high school, I was a relationship hater. I was the biggest hater of relationships. You can ask all my friends from high school. All the people that I knew that were in relationships were miserable. They were so miserable. They had all these rules. They were not allowed to go out with their friends. I would just hear all these horror stories about relationships, and I'm like, what is wrong with these people? I'm like, I never want a boyfriend, ever. I think ripping away somebody's freedom when you're in a relationship is so bizarre to me. I think it's so entitled to actually think you have control over the liberties of somebody. Like, this is a human being. Like, that's a human being. I don't know. It's just so bizarre to me. If you see me on social media with a boy, you better comment, Sam, what the hell are you doing? I think relationships are so crazy. I'm like shitting on relationships, and there's probably people here like in a relationship. I'm kidding around right now. I'm not being serious, but at the same time I am being serious. Like, I think I just don't have any good example of what a good relationship looks like. I can genuinely say that in my life, I haven't seen one good example of a healthy relationship. Does that mean I don't believe in healthy relationships? No, I just haven't seen one. Alright, I'm going to get my nails done. I will probably film again soon, maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. Okay, guys, I'm back from therapy again. Towards the end of my therapy session, we talked about my chronic procrastination. I feel like I was in denial about it for so long. I am a chronic procrastinator. I'm just gonna have to go out and say it. I would be in such denial about this if this was 2 years ago. I'd be like, no, I don't procrastinate. I get stuff done. No, I procrastinate, and it's a maladaptive behavior that I learned from one of my parents. This is something I also just learned. Did you know that if you have a narcissistic parent or mentally ill parent, like if one of your parents has something, like they're a narcissist or they're mentally ill, they have schizoaffective disorder, they have something, their children can actually pick up on those behaviors and like do those behaviors too, but that doesn't mean that their children have these disorders. It's just called maladaptive behaviors. It's behaviors that they learned from their mentally ill parent or their narcissistic parent. and they just do those things. So in my instance, one of my parents was very avoidant, very procrastinating, doesn't get stuff done, avoids tickets, avoids all that. So like now, me as an adult, me and all my siblings, like when I get an Easy Pass ticket, I leave that for months, like up to a year, honestly, up to a year. And I can't even explain to you why. When I think about the tickets that I have to pay, and it's not even about the money, I don't care about paying, I just feel like I'm in trouble. I feel like I have trouble waiting, and I can't get it done right now. Like, I don't even want to think about it. When I start to think about it, I get anxious, and so I just don't pay my tickets, and I rack up fees and late fees over and over and over, and I just never pay it. Like, no, it's not that I never pay it, I do pay it. And I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with ADD, because I will procrastinate, and then I will get motivation one day. I'm just going to get it done. I'm going to sit down, and I sit down for hours, and I like pay all my taxes. I pay all my tickets. I email this person back. I email this person back. I text this person back. I set up this appointment, and I get everything done that I've been procrastinating for months. And then I'll feel so good the following week. And then stuff will pile up again. And then my anxiety starts coming back. And then I'm like pushing it off until there's this whole pile of things that I have to do. And then finally I'll get motivation. And it's just a cycle. I just keep repeating the cycle. And so that's one of the maladaptive behaviors that I learned from one of my parents. And I can't explain it. Like, I feel like if you know, you know. I know there's going to be some people that are like, oh my God, this is so silly. Like, just do it. Like, no, I can't even explain to you. I just can't do it. Like, even if it comes, like, I have to make an appointment to get my wisdom teeth out, and I just can't. Like, it's too much to deal with right now. Like, I don't want to, I just can't. Right now, I just can't. I can't explain why, I just can't. What else do I have to do? There's so many things I have to do, and I'm just procrastinating. And even, like, as I was telling my therapist that, so it's almost like, I can't even explain it. Like, it's almost like, I don't know, like, even I never even told my therapist about this, because I'm like not ready to change, I guess. Like, I'm just not ready to accept it about myself. I don't know, because I always had the fear that if I brought it up, then she's going to encourage me to get stuff done, and I don't want to be encouraged. I don't want to think about it. And like, just the thought, like, even as I was telling her, it's like impending doom. That's what it feels like, impending doom. Like, it's just doom, like this feeling of doom come over me, and I'm like, okay, like, let's just stop talking about it. You know, I'll deal with that later when I have the motivation, but right now I don't have the mental strength right now to think about all the things I need to get done. So please, let's just stop talking about it. She's going to teach me how to break the habit. So a lot of people have been asking me about how to get through a breakup, how to stay strong. Like I said again, like, I will always be honest with you guys when I really don't have great advice to give. I genuinely don't feel like I have great advice on this. I think another common thing in breakups, whether you're in a fixer role or not, is just seeing how a person behaves once the relationship is over. Like, like, let's say you were in a relationship and there was like some issues, and like you guys worked on it for a while, and like you guys tried and put in so much effort to like fix it and come to a solution, and then the person's behavior changes and they become better and they grow. And then like post-breakup, they kind of like revert back to all of their bad behaviors, and it's like, what? I thought we learned this already. I thought we changed. And I remember when I was first going through the breakup, that was something that was really hard for me to deal with, because it felt like I put in 4 years of effort of trying to help a person, and then once I leave the picture, it's like all that work just totally left. Like, that work wasn't even real. Like, it was like all in my head, and I'm like, what happened? Like, I was confused at first. My therapist told me, she said, the changes that they made, like, this is what happens when somebody changes for another person. When somebody doesn't change for themselves, like, a person needs to always want to change for themselves. They can't change for another person, because once that person leaves the picture, they just go back to their old ways. They go back to their old shit. They didn't really change. They just changed for you because they didn't want to lose you. And so they just like masked their behavior, and they tried their best to stop it, but they didn't actually solve the root issue or even like want to change. They didn't even want that change. So once you're gone, they're just back to their old shit. You know what I mean? That was one of the biggest things I struggled with, was accepting that the person that I thought was real wasn't real. Like, when you leave a relationship, it's so crazy, because it's like you almost feel crazy. Like, you almost feel like you're crazy, because it's like everything that was real to you isn't real anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't real. It was fake. It was fucking fake. And it's like, how didn't you know? Like, I don't know. It's still mind-blowing to me. I still struggle to wrap my head around it, because sometimes I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't real. Maybe it wasn't fake. This goes hand in hand with spirituality. I feel like I definitely mentioned this on like my first video. When you get those moments of like a light bulb like in your head, and it's like, you're like, I shouldn't be in this relationship, or I shouldn't be in this situation, I shouldn't be doing this, I need to go pursue this job career, I need to go to college, you get these ideas, and it's like you feel so sure of it. That's your intuition talking to you. And it's like moments of like an epiphany. In those moments, you feel so sure. You're like, oh my god, like, now I know what to do. I know it makes everything make sense to me right now. And those moments are so important, because it's your intuition talking to you. But the thing is, you'll have those moments, and then as weeks go by, that voice in your head gets quieter and quieter and quieter, and it keeps getting drowned out by other things going on in your life, until you completely forget what that voice even said. It could be anything. It could be career, it could be creativity, it could be going on a vacation, it could be leaving your partner, it could be being with a new partner, it could be anything. And it's like you're so sure of it, and your intuition was talking to you, and then like maybe 2 weeks later, I'm like, I forget why I even thought that was a good idea. You forget why you even wanted that. My therapist told me is to keep reminding yourself of that voice. As soon as it gets quieter, keep reminding yourself of what that voice told you. And by voice, I mean what you told yourself, what your intuition said to you. Keep in mind the vision. Keep in mind what you felt in that moment, and don't forget it. Like, try your hardest to be so mindful that you don't forget your reasoning, that you don't forget the idea that you had, that you don't forget the strength that you gave yourself, because it's your intuition talking to you. It's your energy, it's your subconscious. It's telling you you're capable of this. Like, this is what we want. It's like, this is what, and if you're spiritual, this is your road to the best version of yourself. This is your manifestation. I think that's so important, because when she said that, when my therapist said that voice gets quieter and quieter, I'm like, that is a perfect analogy for how I feel, because I do get these great ideas, and sometimes I just totally forget why I even thought it was a great thing in the first place. I don't know if that made sense. I hope that made sense. Another thing that I get DM'd to me a lot is about spirituality, and for me to talk more about that. I'm definitely not an expert. I used to research this stuff, and I was so into it, and then I kind of forget. I knew these things before I even actually knew them. Like, I don't know if that makes sense to you. I was always known as a determined person, like everything that describes an Aries, like determined, hard-headed, stubborn, a go-getter. I always had such high hopes for my life, for my future. I envisioned my potential for my adult self to be so high, even when I was younger. And I don't know where I got this from. My parents must have done something right. I've always had the anything is possible mindset. I'm sure everybody knows about manifestations at this point. I did it best when I was unaware that I was doing it. I feel like therapy, I know here I go about therapy again, but therapy really helps with your manifestations, because if you are working on loving yourself and like ridding that shame and all that negative energy through therapy, through trauma work, then you're essentially becoming a high vibrational person who's vibrating on the same frequency as the best version of yourself, as the richest version of yourself, as the happiest version of yourself. And so you're setting yourself up to receive all these things that the best version of yourself would have. That's how I view it, right? Because like if you're unhappy, if you hate yourself, if you're insecure, if you have all this anger and hatred and resentment, these are all very low vibrational things, and so you're vibrating at the frequency of you not at your highest potential, and so you're just going to get the things that the angriest version of yourself would get, that the most unhappy version of yourself would get, which is not great things. But if you're in therapy and you're healing and you're becoming the best version of yourself, you're going to end up loving yourself eventually, hopefully. And when you love yourself, there's nothing that's unattainable. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you just believe in yourself. And also, these things become not as important to you, I feel like. when I was younger, I feel like materialistic things were so like, I need them, I need them, I need them. And as I've gotten older, those things just don't become as important. And the less important they become to you, the less unattainable they seem, because they're not that crazy. It's not like this crazy wish. Like, to you, they're just like nice things. They're just like bonuses. Happiness, health, and peace has become more important to me than materialistic things, or even having tons of money. Tons of money and materialistic things obviously are an incredible bonus. They make life a whole lot better. Even though some people say money can't buy happiness, I believe money makes your life more enjoyable. I mean, duh, right? Love the little things in life, the little things that money buys, like not even expensive things, just little things. Going to get yourself a coffee, going to Home Goods and buying decorations for your room. I think that's what makes life enjoyable. I think traveling, first of all, nobody talks about this, traveling and experiencing your life and just relaxing on a beach, on vacation, that's what life's about. We're here on this earth to experience it. We're here on this beautiful earth to see it. How do you travel? You need money to do that. So that's why when people say money can't buy happiness, that's not really true. But is money happiness? No, because the richest people in the world are sometimes the saddest people in the world. I think love is the meaning of life. When you ask what the purpose is of life, I think it's love. And that's not just romantic love. I mean love with your family. I mean love with your friends, love with your pets, love with the earth, love with your hobbies, love with your art, love your craft, love your passion, love your career, love your friends, your family, love your significant other, love your children. The answer to why, I believe, is love. And so once you like really feel that like gratitude and like what you want is bigger than something that's materialistic, I think you let go of that fear of not attaining those materialistic things, because at the end of the day, they don't really matter to you as much as they would have if you still held them at such a high standard. And so you let go of that fear of not having them, because again, they don't really matter. And then once you let go of that fear, then they come in. Because if you have that fear in your subconscious that you might never get something, that holds you back from manifesting it into your life. Look at me. I'm like a fucking spirit reader coach. Like, what the hell is going on? You can read books. I know there's one book called The Secret. I like this book called How to Be an Angel. I think that's what it's called. I didn't finish that book, but I just like it. Like, little things like somebody who's reading a book on how to be a kind person every day, like they're going to be happier than a person who's not reading that book. You know what I mean? Like, it's just good things to fill in your mind. It just teaches you like what an angel would do. It encourages you to say something nice to somebody one day, to compliment somebody, to smile at somebody, to go out of your way to help somebody. I know it sounds silly. I'm sure to some people it sounds silly, but it doesn't do any harm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What are you going to lose? There's nothing to lose. Being kind is free. That's the saying, right? That's the saying. Anyways, I think that's enough for this video. My next video, I would love to do a vlog. I know my dad wants to come back on here and say a few things. Once again, I don't know if I even covered anything. I feel like I've been talking for hours. But I'll see you guys next Thursday.